Hi guys, so today I'm going to do a video that's a little bit different than the other ones that I've done in the past. Today we're going to answer some of the questions and some of the comments that have been sent to me. We've been getting a lot of questions about living in Kona, questions about moving, what it's like to live here, and some of them are kind of interesting, so we'll get into it. This one's interesting because it's a great comment because it made me think a little bit and do some research a little bit more than I usually do. So I love learning new things, so that was kind of cool to get into it and read about it. So here's the comment. Kona is the only place in the world where blue marlins over 1,000 pounds have been caught in every month of the year. I've caught one before and it was one of the best experiences in my life. Kona is the best fishing place ever. Well, I'm really glad you caught one. That's awesome. I really feel that it's probably once in a lifetime type of thing. So it's really, really cool. I love that they had a great time. I've actually gone on charters a couple times myself and we had an amazing time. We caught a marlin and then it got away, but that's okay. It was a fun experience to do. We've caught tons of fish. We've seen humpback whales, sperm whales. I don't even know how many dolphins. It is fun. It's really fun to go out. What I like about it is because I've done charters in the Bay Area, I got really sick because we had to go far out. Like it took an hour and a half to get to the right depth or something. I just felt like we were just out there forever before we actually were fishing. What I love about Kona is that it's not even like 15 minutes and you're already like at the right depth and you're able to do all the fishing and all that good stuff. And if it's really rough waters and I want to go home, I can just tell them and I don't have to wait like an hour and a half before I'm home. So I really enjoy it. I will put some pictures so you can see me and my catch. But what was cool is when I was doing research about the local fishing rules in Kona, I realized that the rules actually changed this year in February 2024. And so now you actually have to get a license and a permit, and I'll show you what it actually says, but it says only non-residents over the age of 15 need a saltwater fishing license for an angling permit, and you are considered a Hawaii resident if you are domiciled in the state or you reside in the state for other than a temporary or transitory purpose. I think that's meant to be for like military that's here for a couple months, or for traveling nurses, things like that. So once you get your license, it's $20 for a one-day license, $40 for a week, $70 for a year. So it's really not that expensive. It also says that all military personnel are exempt from these requirements. So you're basically like a Hawaii resident, essentially. You can get these Hawaii fishing licenses online on hawaii.gov, or you can buy them in person in authorized fishing license agents. So that'll be like your fishing store, things like that. So it's pretty cool. But I didn't know that, and it changed this year. There's a lot more rules that I feel like I don't need to get into because this particular person was talking about marlins and things like that. But so I don't want to get into the rest of it, but there are more rules as far as like beach fishing versus like free diving and all that good stuff. Read those rules and make sure that you don't get a ticket for doing something wrong. All right, the next comment is kind of negative. Kona is a tourist trap. It used to be much nicer when less people lived here. It has the potential of being an amazing place to live. I don't think Kona is a tourist trap. I mean, it does have a lot of tourists. It's a beautiful town. We definitely have amazing nature, beaches, things like that will attract people. I mean, Hawaii is a destination. People come to Hawaii because it's a dream. It's a place to be. So of course you're going to have a lot of tourists. So I really can't argue with that fact, but I don't necessarily think that it's a con. It doesn't affect my life in a way where I feel like it's a negative. I think everybody should be able to enjoy Kona. It's one of those things where I really want everyone to be able to enjoy the lifestyle and to have the experience of being in Hawaii. So I just don't like when people say that. I think everybody should be able to come and visit. Okay, next comment. Kona does have bugs. There are mosquitoes, scorpions, and centipedes. It's a jungle with lots of pets. So I definitely agree that there are pests. I don't think that they're completely gone. What I was trying to say in one of my prior videos is that I used to live in the South and on the East Coast, and we had so many pests and so many mosquitoes. So I was saying in reference to that, there's much, much less in Hawaii. And personally, I live at sea level, so I have no pests. Like, I don't have mosquitoes, I don't have scorpions or centipedes. I saw one live centipede in like 8 years of living here. And I mean, I've seen dead ones in the street, but I've never had a live one in my house except for that one time, and I didn't deal with it. My husband dealt with that. But that's to say, like, we really don't have any pests. In areas that are at higher elevation, that get more rain 3 to 4 hours a day, because mosquitoes need to breed with stagnant water. So that's why if you're somewhere that's rainy, you're gonna have a higher chance of having mosquitoes. So I can see how if you're at a higher elevation and in the jungle, that would be more of an issue, but honestly, not that bad. The other thing that they said is they talked about scorpions. I've never seen a scorpion in Hawaii, so if you've seen one, please drop a comment, let me know where, because I've never seen any. And I do hike, I do get out there in the nature, and I've honestly never seen one, so I'm very curious like where they are. One thing that wasn't mentioned on there that I did mention in other videos is that we do have termites. Typically when we do home inspections, I would say that about 80% of the inspection reports will come back with some type of form that there used to be active termites, they're dead now, but there is damage, or they're live currently and it needs to be treated. And it's pretty common. So when you're going through an inspection report, just expect that it's gonna come back with some type of termite damage background or something like that. Just part of living here. When we do home inspections, we always recommend getting one, and it's pretty easy to deal with. It's very common. All right, the next comment is, this is a good one. The Big Island is boring. I don't think it's boring. Maybe you think it's boring. To each their own, you know. I love the Big Island. It's definitely not for everybody. It's not going to be as busy as a place like Honolulu or on the mainland. You're not going to have nightclubs and bars and concerts and comedians and all this entertainment that you'd get like in Vegas. So you just have to come with the right expectation of what your lifestyle is going to be. It's going to be slower. It's going to be a little bit more like suburban, I would say, or country. I can see how somebody who's really into like partying and going out would think that it's a boring place, but to me it's not. I'm at a stage in my life where I don't really need all that, so to me there's tons to do, tons of activities. Don't think it's boring. Next one. Hey Soraya, we're thinking about building a modern home on this vacant lot in Holualoa. What do you think about this lot? Are there any rules we should know about before we fall in love with this lot? Here's the type of architecture we like. And so basically it looks like a very modern home is what it looks like. Okay, so when you're looking at vacant lots, the first thing that you need to look into is the HOA. Typically, HOAs like a very consistent look. They like the homes to all kind of blend and have this very unique, consistent look. They typically have design guidelines that tell you the type of color, the type of roof that you can have, things like that. So I highly recommend reading those to see if they have any type of restrictions against a very modern home. The other thing that you should look into are CC&Rs, which stands for Covenants, Conditions, and Restrictions. I will double check, but I think that's what it is. CC&Rs are basically the same thing. A lot can have CC&Rs and doesn't necessarily need to have an HOA. So it's a way for owners or developers to say, hey, we want our neighborhood to look a certain way, but it doesn't necessarily have to have an HOA, but you can have both. CC&Rs typically have the same thing. They have design guidelines. They also have a minimum amount of square footage that your home needs to be. Some of the more upscale neighborhoods sometimes even have landscaping packages. So they have minimum landscaping that you need to have around your home so that it all kind of looks pretty and all together. And then if you don't have either, if you don't have a HOA or you don't have a CC&R, you just have to follow the county guidelines, which there's no rule to not having a modern home. So I feel like you would be able to build whatever you'd like. So I hope this was helpful. I don't see any other comments. I will address the other set that we have in another video. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions about Hawaii or living on the Big Island, moving, buying real estate, anything like that, drop a comment or contact me and then we'll go from there. Have a good one. Aloha.